Wherever you're listening in the world, it's a pleasure to welcome you to IsraelCast, the podcast powered by Jewish National Fund USA, your voice in Israel. I'm Stephen Shalowitz, first reminding you that for over 120 years, Jewish National Fund USA has been the premier philanthropic movement for the land and people of Israel. While best known for planting trees in Israel, JNF USA contributes to Israeli life in so many ways, including community development in the Negev and the Galilee, preservation of heritage sites, supporting people with disabilities, connecting high school and college students to Israel, and helping our brothers and sisters in need following the heinous October 7th terrorist attack. To learn more and to see how you can contribute, do visit jnf.org. Once again, jnf.org. And also, we invite you to subscribe, rate, and review us 5 stars, of course, wherever you get your podcasts. Plus, of course, we're on YouTube, so do check us out there. All you need to do is search for IsraelCast. All right, as for this episode, what a fantastic honor and pleasure and joy it is to welcome Amotz Eyal into the studio. Now, Amotz is the founder and CEO of TPSIL, that's the Press Service of Israel. Amotz, welcome back to IsraelCast and welcome to a very, very warm New York City.
Thank you, Stephen. Amazing to be here and great to be here and meet you in person again.
Absolutely. So we should share with our vast audience that the first time we did an interview was on Zoom. The second time I had the good fortune of being in your newly opened Jerusalem studios, and that was in January of 2024. So just a couple months after the war broke out and before a couple months after Israel was attacked. And so again, we're really happy to have you here in New York. And before we find out what's the reason why you're in the Americas, because you were not only here in North America, but South America as well. For any listener and anyone in our audience that has not yet heard your other interviews, I would love it if you could share just sort of TPSIL, what it's all about. And then in a moment, we'll share a little bit about how it got started and why.
So TPSIL is the only Israeli news agency, wire service. We're providing pictures, videos, and articles from Israel to other media outlets. We are not sending our information to the public. You cannot read our stories on our site, but we're providing the stories to your local TV station, your local newspaper, and that's what we do. We basically believe that instead of just complaining about the media and how it works, be their source, provide them with the opportunity to see something else or to see something wider and the full angle.
And you're providing the written word, you're providing photography as well as video, right?
Yes, we providing the full package for the media. It can be voice, sound, it can be video, it can be pictures, and of course, articles and investigative stories.
How many people you got now?
So we have 450 volunteers all across Israel. We believe in civic journalism. We build a network of amazing people that care about the mission, about sharing the truth from Israel to the world. They are the first respondent. When something happened, we're sending them a text, and the first one to get taking the pictures, the videos, and sending that to our main office. And then we're producing the article to our partners worldwide, based on 10 people that working today in the office.
Right, and those were the offices that I saw when I was in Jerusalem.
Yes.
A year ago, January. And then I'll tell you what, why don't we talk then about how TPSIL started? What was the origin?
So, a bit background about myself.
Yeah.
I started...
And I love this part, by the way.
I grew up in a place called Psagot. Psagot is a small community in Israel that when I was a child was just attacked every night by with shooting from Ramallah. So kind of I grew up under fire. My house was hitting with more than 75 bullets in the same days. But the reaction of us, of growing in this place or in these intense times, was when we saw something, or I saw something that I felt that is wrong, I try or work hard to fix it. That's how I grew up. This is what my parents teach me. And from very early stage, I started to work in the public affairs of Israel. The first time that I petition to the Israeli Supreme Court. I was 12 years old. Tried to change the soccer games. Israel plays soccer games just on Shabbat. My family is Orthodox, keeping Shabbat, so they couldn't come and watch me playing. So I petitioned to move the games for weekdays. After I petitioned, the Israeli Soccer Union decided to open another option on Sunday or Monday for groups to play. Teams to play, and until today they have games in the weekdays. After that, I was the youngest medical clown in Israel. I work I work as a clown in hospitals to help kids with cancer. But I did it on daytime. But I was 14, so how can I do it? So I decided together with other few friends to build our own school in Israel that will study at night, will volunteer or work in the morning. So again, every time that I saw an obstacle, I tried to give a solution or to solve it. Then I recruited to the Israeli army, served in a special unit in the Israeli army. And when I finished my army service, I came to the U.S. I was a counselor in a camp here. And then I started...
Do you want to give a shout out to the camp?
Yeah, I was a counselor in a camp called Nesher in Pennsylvania. And when I came here, I started to realize that what's happened here with the news. I saw what happened in Israel, and I saw the coverage, and I saw that it's really not this, like, it's not what happened. Like, it's coming here very negative all the time. So I asked myself, how come? What's the source of this problem? So my belief in the way that I'm operating is when I see a problem, I'm trying to think about it from a strategically point of view. And what I learned in the army and before is that when you see a problem, you need to solve it with at least three things. First of all, you need to define what is the target, what is the actually problem, what is the source of a problem. Secondly, you need to understand with what manpower you can deal with that. And thirdly, you have to have your spirit and motivation, because you will always face tough time in the middle. So when I try to understand what is the problem, like thousands, tens of thousands of media outlets all around the world have the same negative stories about Israel, it's looked like impossible. How come that all of them have the same stories? And I found out a very interesting fact. 85% of world information coming from three agencies, news agencies: AP, Associated Press, Reuters, and AFP. So for me, that was the problem to try and solve. That was my focus. So I try to check what happened in this arena around me, like what other organization is trying to do and how they trying to solve things. This problem, and I saw mainly two attempts. One is to find the media accountable for the wrong information that they publishing, and it's very important, really, and it's very helpful. But for the stories, it's too late. When the media outlet is publishing a headline and you forcing them to change it, it will always be a day later, a few hours later. Everyone already read the first headline, read the first story. So I said, I don't want to be reactive to what the media is doing. Secondly, I don't want to go to different people and to convince them that what they read in the news is not what actually happened. So I said, instead of that, I will just supply the international media with accurate information, factful-based information, with the fact, with the pictures, with the videos from beginning. And that's what motivated me to do so. Now I need the manpower. So I started this organization. I was back then a pizza delivery guy.
That's the part of the story I especially love.
So I took the money that I got for like the tip money, not the salary, the tip, to buy a few cameras. And I just gave it to a few people and asked them, please give me like when something happened, go to the field and send me the videos. And I started to get more and more pictures and videos from the field that show something totally different from what people described before they saw the videos. And that's how it started. It started by 5 volunteers that went to places, take videos, took pictures, show a different reality, prove it was a different reality. But for the first time, someone was on the ground to take the video, the full video. From then, the network of volunteers expanded for, like I said, today, more than 450 volunteers. And so this is the first part of the manpower. Then we have our professional team in the office that they need to verify and to make sure that the material that's coming from the volunteers is accurate, is factual, and also to write the articles itself in the best, in the most professional way. So we have the reporter and the editor in the office, and of course, head of photography. This is the manpower. Also investigative reporting. Very important, because the power of media outlets to decide where is focusing and which story is going to invest more. It's something that each media outlet have his own focus, but I feel that you don't have someone that really invest in writing about stories that bringing something new to the discussion. So we invested also in investigative journalism, and that's our manpower and spirit and motivation. Without that, but back then when I started, people told me, how come you, a pizza delivery guy, want to change worldwide media? I said, because I don't have any other option. We have to. It's another war. It's war about the truth. And unfortunately, today, it's not that we are losing. We are not playing in the game. We are not there.
Yeah, we had Olga Deutsch from NGO Monitor on several episodes ago, and I want to give her credit for sharing the notion that this is a war of narratives, isn't it?
Yes, but it's also war of just the basic information that's not out there. Narrative can be second layer, but first of all, be on ground and write stories. I want to say about Olga and about NGO Monitor that they are a very, very important source for us for a few of our stories. They're doing amazing investigative work, and it's helped us to share the world with accurate information. But we see other media outlets that wants to get our stories. It's not just a fight of like pushing our information. They coming to us to look for this material. We just need to give them the opportunity to get.
Yeah, talk about the media organizations that are using TPS-IL's information.
So TPS-IL started in 2010. For the first 9 years, it was very hard to get to other media outlets. We, like in very statistical effort, we got to 80 customers around the world in 2019. But we built our reputation and we built a trust in the news arena that in 2019, we were invited to take part in the World Congress of News Agencies. It's a forum of national news agencies from all around the world. When I went there, I met amazing people that asked me just one question. Where you been until now? Why we never have an Israeli news agency part of our network? So we started to work with different national news agency. National news agency, it's a media outlet that share her story, her material with all the local news outlets of the country. So we started to sign agreement of cooperation. We signed agreement with Azerbaijan and Romania and Bulgaria and Albania and more, and India. And more countries joined. Today we're supplying the material on the national level to 20 countries. And we're also working with 22 leading TV stations from all Latin America and the Caribbean, together with more and more customers that join us. So maybe it was very hard in the beginning, but today we are in a place that media outlets looking for our material, looking for our cooperation, and it's changed the game for us, let's say.
Can you talk about some of your success stories?
Oh, how can I choose?
I know you have a meeting in another hour, so you're going to have to just be brief about that. But like your top, let's say 2-3 success stories.
So I think, of course, our focus in the last year and a half was the coverage of the war in Gaza. Yeah. And there, our photographers, our Palestinian photographers inside Gaza gave us few of the most important stories that we were able to cover from the fierce protest against Hamas inside Gaza to the markets that full with food, and to show that Hamas is blocking the people to get the food. We did an investigative story about how Hamas is taking 30% fee from any money transaction in Gaza, and that's how he's keeping himself in control, or with the food control. We cover the fact that you have a quiet boycotting against Israeli archaeologists digging in Judea and Samaria, in the West Bank. It was just published just 2 months ago here in the US.
By whom? Who's doing the boycotting?
Different universities here in the US and in UK, and professional magazines from the industry. So basically what they do is they trying to hide the history. They're not trying to ignore from it, or also to make the archaeology to put them in quiet. So this is another story of success. But I think, again, our most successful success will be when you don't know that someone tried to lie. Why? Because our goal and what we do is to send the first story accurately and factful from beginning. And if our story, and when our stories are published first, you're succeeding to stop a lot of lies to be published, because you have the picture, you have the video from the scene, and the media outlets already use it worldwide. So the other, like the Hamas statements, or like the lies of Hamas or other organization, are not heard because they are too late.
You mentioned you had photographers in Gaza. How did you arrange that? And who are these people?
I will not, of course, expose all of them, but it's professional journalists that understand that they cannot work freely with other agencies or media outlets inside Gaza. So they want to work with us. So a lot of them is working secretly with us. Of course, we need to keep a lot of their names as a secret. We don't want that no one can hurt them, but that's what we do.
Yeah, and speaking of Gaza, I know that you were one of the first on the scene on October 7th, and you've been back to Gaza. Are there any standout moments for you? You were there as a reservist, of course.
So I didn't got there as a reservist. Mm-hmm. I got to Sderot, the city of Sderot, on October 7th, because my breaking news editor called me and said something big happening in the south part of Israel. I'm not succeeding to catch our photographers, and we have to have someone to take pictures. So I woke up my wife. I said to my wife, I need to go to take few pictures. I'll be back here for lunch. I took my motorcycle, drove down to the south. I go to a Zikim junction. It's a junction between Ashkelon and Sderot, two big cities in the south part of Israel, that was blocked by the police. And they told me you cannot cross here. So I started to take pictures, and then I saw more and more injured people that evacuated from Sderot, from the area of Sderot. So in 5 to 10 minutes, I realized I'm not here anymore as a journalist, and I entered to Sderot to try and save life. And I came back home for the first time 3 months later. But our mission was really to save the people's life in the city of Sderot, and after that to find unfortunately, the bodies that was all over our people all over the area of the south. And from then I served in the army, and that's something that I want to also share. I was very lucky to have amazing team. I'm very happy that we have amazing team of people in Israel. And I called them in TPS Eyal, and I called the producer on Saturday morning, and I told her, I'm going, you in charge. She was 6 months in TPS. Another person was 6 months in TPS, and both of them, the international operation manager, and they both just took the lead by themselves. I wasn't in touch with them. I was just in the middle of a lot of missions, and they didn't just succeed to continue our work. They succeed to expanded our work and our networks around the world, and that's something that I'm very proud of the organization.
Just one more point about Gaza. Is there an image that stands out in your mind from your time there, or from, say, for example, October 7th when you're in Sderot?
I have a lot of images, not very nice images in my memory, but I want to talk about a picture that my photographer took. It was in our kidnap release when Arbel Yahud was released from the Hamas captivity. We had on pictures how the Palestinians crowd tried to attack her. And that's a picture that stands in front of me all the time. The Hamas tried to organize the whole ceremony of release, and the crowd there just came and tried to attack and hurt Arbel Yahud. And that's a picture that I don't think I can forget. Of course, I saw very tough scene in the south of Israel, in Be'eri, in Sderot. But this is, I think, what stand out in my memory.
So, Amotz, moving on, you're here in New York right now. This is not your first stop in the Western Hemisphere. So share with our dear audience what brings you to this part of the world.
So I arrived to Peru on last Wednesday.
Lucky you.
Yeah, in 2 days, that is, in Lima.
At least it's something.
Yeah, but I didn't saw nothing. I came there to speak with our partners, 22, the Latin American and Caribbean TV station that invited me to speak about the situation in the last year and a half in Israel. What happened there, what happened with Hamas-Israel war. So I show them everything that happened based on real information, real pictures and videos, as a timeline, how it started, what's happened, what led to the second. And of course, it was very important because everything that I show them, it's material that we supply them on real time. So that's why I came. And then Israel decided to clear Iran from their nuclear capabilities. So I was stuck here, and I came to the U.S. and New York, and started in Chicago, and then in New York.
My hometown.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you made it there. Going back to Peru, though, what was your reception like amongst these journalists, and in which countries were they from, for example?
So from all the countries
of Latin America,
of Latin America and Caribbean, and of course it was not each country or each TV station have his own take on that. Not all of them have the same accepting the information in the same way. I don't want to go too much to specific because it's our partners, and we don't want to expose everything
sure
on there.
You want to be sensitive.
I want to sensitive to our partners, but I got very good comments and also negative comments.
But at least they're taking the material.
Yes, but I have to say that one of the most negative comments that I got was from US based media outlets.
Do you want to share which ones or no?
No, I don't want to share. I don't.
That's interesting. Why do you think that's so?
I don't really know. The negative comment.
Yeah, but what were the negative comments, though?
The negative comment was, yes, everything that you say is accurate, but it's Israel's fault. You need to say it's Israel's fault, and it's not. If you're really talking about fact, Israel was attacked by Hamas. One of the things that I said there, and I think it's very important, and we need to be clear about that. Mm-hmm. Israel is not fighting Hamas because what happened on October 7. We're not fighting the Hamas today because of that. We're fighting with Hamas today because we need to prevent the next October 7. Hamas officials are still saying and practicing for the next October 7. Maybe it will not be on October, but they practicing. And what I said in the conference, and I also show that in pictures, because we had the pictures and we said it before. Hamas for the last year, 2 years, are practicing, 2 years before October 7, Hamas already started to practice and train for October 7. And they said it publicly, we're going to act against Israel. We didn't want to listen. And that's the Israeli media and the international media fault. Also, when someone telling you that he wants to kill you, believe in him. Believe him.
Why do you think, Amotz, people didn't believe them? I feel like we're living in a time right now, and it's very frustrating, especially for me, because I love history and I've studied history, where you have supposedly very, very intelligent people, or they claim to be intelligent people, and they say that they were totally surprised by what Hamas did. They were totally surprised about this vast wave of Jew hatred. They never thought that it could possibly happen. And I'm thinking to myself, all you have to do is read history and understand history, that it's not like in 1945, the switch was just turned off against anti-Semitism and Jew hatred, for example.
I believe it's because people always want to be optimistic and to look on the other like he's thinking like them, and it's a good people. They're thinking that we need to bring peace to the world. So they trying to look on the other like they thinking by themselves, but it's not the case. You have here each person thinking differently, and you need to understand, you need to think in his mind when you're trying to understand what he's going to do, not in your mind and not in your opinions. And we see it all the time on the media. The media outlets today they need to fill the time, so they always interview experts. But if we'll check the experts' assumption or what they thought will happen, they failing time after time. How many experts said, also in the Israeli media outlets, how many experts said Israel cannot attack Iran? If Israel will attack Hezbollah, will suffer for thousands of people will killed. And you see that it's nothing with reality. I think that it's hard for us today to just clear the opinion side and to be based on fact.
Yeah, I want to, at this point, share with our dear audience that we're recording this on Tuesday, July 24th. And I believe this episode is going up the first or second week. We're recording it on June 24th. Let me start that one over. I want to share. I think this would be a good time, Amotz, for me to share with our dear audience that we're recording this episode on Tuesday, June 24th, and it's going to be released in early July. So a million things can happen from now until then, certainly. I want to talk, though, about the international media, even Israeli media, for example, U.S. media, because I think there's a common complaint throughout is that they're projecting Israel in an inaccurate, in an inauthentic way. So talk to us about what you're getting right. And you've alluded to it now in terms of they rely on so-called experts, but sometimes the experts don't really know. Or I will say, and this is me editorializing, and I realize that, is that people that are new experts, okay, or people that are quote unquote thought leaders. And I think that's very dangerous because sometimes I find that people claim to be a thought leader, but they don't actually have any thoughts, Amotz.
That's true, but also sometimes people have a thought and have a knowledge. But when they're giving
well, they have information, but they don't have knowledge.
Yes, but I will say when you interview high-ranked Israeli ex-army officers, they have knowledge, but when they're coming to give their ideas, to share their assumption, they're coming with their own beliefs, again based on what they believe and what they want to believe, and that's what we see all the time. And that is the one that have the knowledge, and of course, a lot of them don't have the knowledge from beginning, too. And they are the people that giving us a lot of time, what to think and what not to think, what to be based on, what not. So what we do as a news agency, we're trying to clean it. We will go to the field, take the picture, and show what's happening. And we don't have any opinion in our news agency. We're not interviewing people. We're not giving, like, we don't have open section in the news agency, because we believe in hard work to get to the ground, not to be just in the office. That's what most of the media outlets doing today. When something happened, they sing in the office and getting their PR release and information from other agencies. So that's what we changing. A real journalism on the ground, fact-based, no opinion. And yeah, we just a day after, in the day that Israel and Iran said they will have a ceasefire.
Mm-hmm.
But what we saw in the last year, we saw Israeli achievements that no one imagined that Israel can do. And it's very important for me to mention it, because I think people also didn't believe, or not believing, that we can change reality in the world news sphere. But I think we have the opportunity, we have the ability, because a lot of the media outlets worldwide are eager to get our story, to get this story, to get the picture, the fact. And you just need to do it right, like Israel did against Hezbollah in Iran. We didn't just enter without thinking. We build everything to the place to the point that we can win the war. That's again that's what we need to do also in the media sphere, to build it in the right way, that when we'll share the truth, they will get it.
I think you know, Amotz, that I'm a Mandarin speaker, and one of my favorite expressions from the late Deng Xiaoping was "shi shi qiu shi," which in English means seeking truth from facts. And it was one of the expressions that he used most often. And it really very much sounds to me like you're doing the same. You're trying to seek truth from facts.
100%. This is the goal and the mission of TPS.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it's really yeoman's work that you're doing. So you've been a reservist, and I know that you can't talk about your particular missions, but how do you balance that, your reservist duty, with your journalistic hat?
I have to say that the last 600 days or a bit more was very tough. My mission is to make the world better in any front that I can.
Yeah.
And I cannot ignore for one of the fronts. I'm here because I stopped my reserve service to come here and work and help TPS to grow in my other front of the media, of the truth, of the seeking truth.
That's a war also.
It's a war also. But I need, for 600 days, I'm trying to balance between work and reserve service. And it's very tough. And unfortunately, it's 24/7, something that a bit also tough to my family. I have 2 small kids.
And a very understanding wife.
And very understanding. And again, my wife working very hard. And she need to be also with the kids. And I need to try and be in the kids. And it's look impossible. But when you understand that you don't have no one other that can do it, I have to do it. That's my mission.
And when Israel initially attacked Iran, or I should say responded to Iran, because Iran has been attacking Israel for God knows how many years, right? What was your first thought?
It was a day before I spoke in the conference in Peru, in Lima, and I told them it's going to happen soon. I didn't thought it would be the next day. I was surprised and kind of relieved, because the nuclear, it's danger. It's very dangerous, generally, and it's not just the nuclear. It's their will to act against Israel, and they're saying it. But it's not just about Israel. Iran is she pulled all the strings for October 7 to happen. She trained Hezbollah. She the country is the hub of terror in all the regions.
Yeah.
And not just they're not operating just against Israel. They're threatening about all the regions, and we see now a very clear or very a big opportunity for Israel to make peace with most of the Arab world, but Iran was always there to try and interrupt and to make it non-possible. I'm happy that with the help of the U.S., Israel succeed to sign agreement with peace agreement with few Arab countries,
The Abraham Accords.
the Abraham Accords. But I believe that today we have much bigger opportunities with many more countries.
Yeah, and let's talk about that as it relates to TPS-IL, because the Middle East has really been shaken up, and there's, again, vast opportunity for so many Israeli entities to cooperate with their neighbors. And so I'm wondering, how does that then translate into what TPS is all about and what you're doing?
So, first of all, when I signed a cooperation agreement with the Emirate News Agency, WAM, I told in the ceremony that the signed agreements between countries, peace agreement, is the first layer. But if you really want to build relationship with the country, you need also to have the ability to share the truthful information from one country to the second, and to help the people to understand, the people of the country to understand the other nation. So we have partnership with few Arab countries from the Gulf and others, but now we have more opportunities. And I'm very looking forward to send the official letter with request for cooperation to the Syrian news agency. We see today a big change in Syria, in the regime, in how they're reacting to Israel. I don't know how they will accept it, but I know that I need to take my part in trying to bring more truthful and factual and more informed information from one country to the other.
Whoever could have imagined?
Me.
Of course, you're a dreamer. I love that. That's what we love about Amotz.
But I think, again, we that's what, from time to time, you see things that looks impossible.
Yeah.
I don't think about that things are impossible. I think with the right strategy, with the right way, with the right will of people and motivation, you can achieve so much.
And talk about some of the other, let's say, unexpected countries that you either have ties with or that you're working on right now, if you can share.
So I can share that on October 7, for the first time, our first coverage from October 7 was run by a Pakistani news agency.
They ran your
Yeah, they
material.
ran our material based on friendships that we built from different media conferences that we met. We don't have official agreement of cooperation yet. It's something that we cannot do right now, but we're looking forward for a brighter future that we'll be able to sign off official agreement. Also, we have countries in Asia that we're working on cooperation with them. One of the countries that we in touch is Mongolia.
I love that.
Yes, and many more to come. I believe that with the right budget, or like with the right manpower that of the news agency, we can get in 5 years to 2 billion people a day. And that's our goal. And it's very achievable goal today with what we build, with a reputation. But for that, we need support from people that will help us to increase our manpower. That this is the only limitation that we have for now, is budget issues. We are not for profit. It's just based on what we succeed to raise from people that care about truth.
In Amotz, what do you say to people that consume mainstream legacy media? Okay, kind of going back to something that you shared a little bit a moment ago. What do you say to people when they're reading and consuming that media? What should they be on the lookout for And how should they really discern what they're reading and absorbing or listening to?
So I think from my point of view, one of the most important thing when you're reading a news article is to look what is the source. Who are the sources for this information? This is something that someone will pay for it. This is someone that the journalist was on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
How many people interview? How many people for the article or how many against the headline?
Mm-hmm.
What they choose to have in the headline. This is the way I'm teaching journalism. This is the way that I'm trying to teach my students to read the media. Always carefully and always to understand what's behind the article. We also, as organizations that care about truth and the news, we're sending our producers to give a class workshops around the world to teach how to read the media, how to read it more carefully. But I think that every person, if he will not take everything automatically or for granted and will be more curious to see how the news outlets try to affect what he will think, he will be much more informed.
You know, I always like to say there's certain subjects that I really know a lot about, right? You ask me how to change a tire, you ask me anything technical, you ask me anything how to change a light bulb, I can't do, right? But there's certain subjects that I know. And I find that when I'm consuming news and the reporter shares something that I really know about and they get it wrong or it's not quite right, it really makes me question then everything else that news organization is sharing. In other words, how accurate is that information if I happen to know what they're talking about is not really 100% correct?
Look, in the end, each reporter,
Mm-hmm.
he's not an expert. What the reporter needs to do is to go and check what's happened, interview other people, and to give you the story. But every person, media or not media person, have his own beliefs.
Yeah, their own
And
biases.
yeah, their own biases, and you just need to be aware of that. When you the journalists are going to cover an event, he will choose who to interview for this event based on his beliefs.
Yeah.
He will choose which question to ask based on his beliefs. It doesn't mean that this is actually what the story is. So, of course, first of all, understand media journalists are human. Human have their own bias. This is how it works. So get the fact, try to see what's happened, but also try to understand what the belief of the reporters that send you the information. If you know that, if you will understand that he's coming from one belief and what he wrote, you can consume the media in much healthier way.
Yeah, all journalists learn on day one, if your mother tells you she loves you, check it.
Yes, true. But from the other side, you grew up with your mother, so believe her. And it's also something that we need to like a lot of times the media become too much questionable for fact.
Mhm.
And their assumption that when someone saying that the sun is out, it will be always dark. It's not always the truth. They need to check it. They need to look for it. But I think that one of the mission of journalists from time to time is also to just give a good news, just to share that something good happened, not just to look for the negative, the weaknesses. That's what happened, I think, in Israel. People inside Israel, media outlets, always thought or want to show how Israel is weak.
Mm-hmm.
So they gave coverage of Israel is not capable. If we will will prevent from Iran nuclear, it will cost us in 4,000 people dead, because they always are looking for the weakness, the weakest points, and the negative stories. But it's also a way to lie to the public, because Israel is a strong country. Israel have amazing strategy. Israel have capabilities that no one imagined before. So the media need to be able also to share good stories, or to share encouraging stories, not just the negative ones.
And that's what you do as well.
it's also, we not just doing that, of course, we're doing the negative stories and the optimistic stories, and we talking about weaknesses, but also about strength. And yes, that's what we do. You need to balance it, and you need to make sure that the public getting the truthful story. Also, if it's mean that you're not against the government in Israel, and it's hard. I know it's hard for a lot of people, journalists in Israel, to admit that the government can do something, and they're not all of them supporting the government, and it's okay. But don't be one-sided. It's become in Israel, it's become now, I think, a bit like in the US. Either you are with or against. No, you have you have things that you can be with, and we have things that you can be against, and you need to understand that it's not black and white all the time. You have gray, you have the middle.
The gray area.
Yeah, it's I wanted to say gray, but it's not gray. You have the middle between the gray, between the black and white, that is just factful. For that, that's what will happen. For something else, it's not good. Just don't be, don't block yourself from understanding that something can be more complicated.
And you're faced with that in Israel, as everybody is really throughout the world, indeed. So, Amotz, I'm super mindful of the time because I know you're quite busy here while you're in NYC. So, as we wind down our conversation right now, you just referenced positive news. So, is there one story, for example, that you've covered or that TPS Eyal is particularly proud of, about, that is of a positive nature that we can end this conversation on?
Oh, we have again a lot, but I don't want to go about stories from months ago. I want to just share. Israel was in her most intense days, and you saw all over the stock exchange market and with the economy, that the Israel economy is just growing. And I think that show trust in the Israeli economy, trust in the in the country of Israel. And it's something that I want, if we need to choose one thing to end, is the optimism. Is the optimism because, first of all, we're getting requests from media outlets worldwide. They care about what's happened. And people in the world, around the world, believe in Israel, believe in the economy, Israeli economy. And we see it also when we have our toughest time. And the people in Israel have resilience. We had very tough last 12 days. My wife, together with my kids,
during the war with Iran.
Yeah, during the war with Iran, slept in the shelter every night, and it was very tough, and people injured and killed. But we saw that the people in Israel were strong, and they understood what's happening and why it's happening. And I want to finish with the Israeli resilience, and I think again, and I believe that this resilience or this optimism, this is what's helped to the country to drive economy-wise, startup nation-wise, and also make a strong and very unite community or people in Israel.
All right. And on that optimistic and hopeful note, we're going to leave it right there. Amotz, Eyal, this has been so fantastic to have you in studio and to speak with you again. We want to thank you so much for joining us here on this episode of IsraelCast, and really for all that you're doing and for bringing that spirit, that ruach, to all of us and to our listening audience. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Stephen. And like I said in the beginning, you need the right target, you need the ammunition, and you need the spirit. You have to have the right spirit to solve problem. Thank you, Stephen.
All right. Well said. And we'll have info about Amotz and TPS Eyal on the show notes page of this episode on our website, jnf.org/IsraelCast. Now, we do release new episodes of the show every other Wednesday. I have no idea why you'd want to miss an episode. And so that you never miss an episode, do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. Simply search for IsraelCast. And of course, while you're there, do rate and review us, because that really helps with our rankings, which make it easier for more people around the world to find us and to hear from truly inspiring people like my friend over here, Amotz. And of course, as I always say, we want to thank all of those behind the scenes that make IsraelCast possible, our mini Moshav, I call them. They include Stefan Oberman, Vivian Grossman, and of course, our editor, Jay Rothman. IsraelCast is indeed powered by Jewish National Fund USA, your voice in Israel. For more info about JNF USA, do visit jnf.org. And if you'd like to write to us with story ideas or just to say howdy, I know Amotz would love to hear from you, and so would I. Wouldn't you love to hear from everybody, Amotz?
Of course.
Right. So do email us at IsraelCast@jnf.org. And of course, we want to give a shout out to the music that you hear at the top until the program. We want to give a shout out to, see, I lost my train of thought because I usually do this. The music that you hear at the, sorry, let me do this. And of course, can't forget that the music that you hear at the top until the program is titled My Eden. It's by the very talented Rafi Malkiel from his album Water on the Tzaddik label. IsraelCast is powered by Jewish National Fund USA, your voice in Israel. For more info about JNF USA, do visit jnf.org. And if you'd like to write to us with story ideas or just to say howdy, I know Amotz would love to hear from you, wouldn't you, Amotz?
Of course.
All right, and so would I. So do email us at IsraelCast@jnf.org. Meantime, I'm Stephen Shalowitz, thanking you for tuning in and looking forward to having you join us on future episodes of IsraelCast.